What a way to open this movie, complete with fake credits, and the first thing we see is the creator's face. No cold open introducing Truman. From the start, we're behind the curtain.
The Truman Show is a lifestyle. It's a noble life.
Her use of the word noble is such a clue into how narcissistic and deluded everyone working on the show is. Little fun math for Truman's age, 10,909 days divided by 365 days in a year is a little over a month away from 30 years. 29 years, 324 days.
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Also, what luck they got a Jim Carrey type to star their show when they could have just as easily gotten a Joaquin Phoenix I'm Still Here type, or worse, Nathan Fielder. Every time I watch this film, I'm always taken aback at how quickly the charade starts to fall apart. It's a great device to show how the production team deals with mess-ups, but it's also laying the groundwork for it to be more believable that Truman would start figuring it all out. Oof, lost the brightest star in the sky. That's a rough one.
An aircraft in trouble began shedding parts. You think it'll fly somewhere?
Nope.
Oh, good.
A couple things here. Truman has only ever lived in Sea Haven, so the radio seemingly responding to him would be something he's used to. Fun fact, my brother Travis is always worried that his life is secretly a Truman Show situation, and we've all gone to great lengths to reassure him that his entire life is in fact real, and I think our commitment to that is the main reason he barely ever suspects anything. But also, the radio quickly explains the light falling, while also serving as a way to make sure Truman continues to be afraid of flying since he can't leave the dome. All the magazines are amazing. Car, Sound, Horse, Child, Modern Dad, Diver. Only stuff that would keep him in Sea Haven.
Oh, and, one of these, the wife.
Here's the thing. Everyone lies all the time, and we all know everyone lies, even about stupid stuff, but it's not till you find out that someone is lying that you get to pass judgment, and everyone would think Truman was the most despicable human because they got to see every dirty secret of his, and yeah, this movie is actually very dark.
That be all for you, Truman?
That's the whole kit and caboodle.
This guy seems sweet enough, and it makes sense that he'd be the closest that Sylvia got to breaking one of the actors. And some of these actors are so comfortable in their jobs, they're really phoning it in. They don't even think it would tip Truman off. I mean, they're literally pinning him against an advertisement and acting like that's not weird at all. Concubine has to be a big seller for the Gilead Perfume Company.
You're gonna lose a lot more than your teeth if you don't meet your quota.
Hey, thanks.
I know you expect me to say, oh look, Adam Braverman has always been the worst Braverman, but I'm actually gonna say, oh look, Nate Fisher has always been the worst Fisher. Imagine being cast on the show and learning that you don't just have to act in one take at all times, you also have to assist in filming whenever the main character leaves the frame.
Wow. That's amazing.
In the trailer, I remember this line being played as a big joke because his butt is so up close and personal, but in the context of the actual film, it's clearly more about him being deeply miserable and confused.
That is a beer.
Gotta get that label facing the camera. Marlon's a pro at this point. Again, if you've never seen a real storm on the ocean, you'd think those were rough seas. The moon gets lit up by the lightning. You might think this would be the moment he realizes something is up, but because he's alone, everyone could just gaslight him into thinking it never actually happened. The whole setup of the show is essentially gaslighting him. This movie is so much darker than I remember.
The wind blows in and the curtains move and you don't see anything.
Of course, Scully is bummed about the censoring. Well, what you sweeping up there, guy? Love that extras being bad at faking background activities is part of the story this time. One for all for one has some new meaning when your entire world revolves around one dude.
Dog fancy, please.
Dog fancy. Dad?
And that's what happens when you're the closest to the disturbance. You let that dog go without a worry. Where's he gonna go?
But I've never blamed you, Truman.
Ooh, she's diabolical. Passive-aggressive gaslighting.
Get one of those new elk rotaries.
Laura Linney is a celebrated actor who has won several awards and been nominated for even more, and she's still underrated. Put some respect on Laura Linney's name. A stare right down the barrel and then glance back at Truman. Perfection. Absolutely nailed the subtlety of college romance.
I'm so sorry to fall on you like that.
Oh, that's all right. Don't worry about it.
I'm Meryl.
Fun fact, every name on the show is a reference to an IRL actor. Meryl Streep, Marlon Brando, Lauren Garland is Sylvia's full name, Lauren Bacall and Judy Garland, and obviously our true man, Truman, Burbank, California. Okay, first this is a T-Rex or Trex for the true fans, baby, glam rock 70s song that's being covered by the Big Six in this sock hop 50s style. And the Truman Show has a very vague feeling about its generation, which makes the topic and title of the song, 20th Century Boy, perfectly on the nose. Cause yeah, Truman thinks it's the mid to late 90s now, but he might as well have graduated in 1955, even though it would have been closer to 1985. So yeah, 20th Century Boy, no doubt.
Konnichiwa. You take Japanese.
Oh, yes.
It works both because flirting will leave your mind empty of all cogent thoughts, and also her textbooks are probably just props. Which is weird though, and begs the question, did these kids get an education at all? I mean, Lauren could be a new cast, but Marlon's been there since the beginning. I just don't know how Kristoff doesn't get the death penalty for the show. I mean, come on, your crush saying now to you? I would have slipped through the cracks in the floor, and I don't even know what that means. This is good stuff. We're actually a part of the real audience where the cameras are having trouble tracking them.
Then don't talk.
Love.
Don't worry. We're going to
See you in
Fiji.
school.
Fiji. We're moving to Fiji.
What I like about this line is that clearly the guy is just naming the most faraway random spot he can think of. But because Truman doesn't know that, he fixates on it. And as somebody who watches movies with a fine-tooth comb for a living, I can relate. There's nothing like finding out something you thought was an amazing, artistic choice was actually due to budget cuts or a mistake by a production assistant. While Meryl is, in fact, a terrible person, it's gotta be brutal to see that your spouse prefers someone else on live TV. But that's just Aubrey Plaza. This moment, more than anything else, would be what freaked me out. Everyone just stopped. Definitely would think we're in a body snatcher situation. The copy in this article is extra bleak since it's all fake and the fake mayor is defending the town's persecution of the fake homeless while fake civil libertarians promise a fake lawsuit over the violation of the homeless people's fake civil rights, and yet... This is possibly one of the best pieces of music ever composed for a movie by Philip Glass. There, I said it. It's so whimsical, but also eerie at the same time. Also Poe Katsi, obviously. Everyone should watch the Katsi trilogy, seriously. In a theater if it's ever showing near you. I'm sure you noticed this guy, but did you really? Did you see him here? How about there? Here? Legit just standing out in the open here? What about this time when he's talking into his lapel? This guy is always following Truman like a spy handler. Yeah, he's always there, lurking and staring. And now Anthem kicks back in and we get the real treat. After the feedback moment, this wouldn't entirely break me. Well, I mean, can you break what's already broken? The best moment of the entire film. Of course the guy wouldn't react, he doesn't know what he's allowed to do. Honestly, it's even more depressing that he still thinks he can trust his best friend. It's such a human condition thing to trust people that are close to you. But it's the reason Travis almost figured it out once. All the actors hired to be his friends eventually wanted to break character like Sylvia did, because, you know, decent humans start to care about people they build relationships with. So they were dropping him hints that he didn't really understand, but it got ugly for a while. Back on track now, though. Love that even in this open conversation, Marlon is playing the game, waiting for Truman to walk away so he can pull candy bars out he already restocked to stretch his task a bit. Honestly, a pretty smart move. Try it, you'll be surprised.
Look at that sunset, Truman. It's perfect.
That's the big guy. Quite a paintbrush he's got.
Holy crap, it just hit me. How do they even deal with religion in Sea Haven? It's like every layer of what they're doing to Truman is even more messed up than the last. Christ off is the big guy. I do love that this is a big deal. Honestly, wedding dates are a blur. I could have crossed my fingers, worn corpse paint, or slapped my best man Jim in the face. I wouldn't have known. It's just all nerves, so that's realistic.
I'll cross my fingers for you.
Ha! Yeah, if there's no real sun, you might need that vitamin D.
There was that elevator disaster downtown. It was on the news last night.
And it's like it gets to a point where all the corrections and retcons start to seem even more mysterious. The spy camera view of this scene makes the whole thing feel even more paranoid. Amazing set design and blocking to reveal the mother of all travel posters. Oh man, I think I always assumed that was her napkin from lunch, but now I'm realizing it's her makeup bib to protect her clothes while makeup is applied. I want to be like, not one person is cussing the driver out, get it together, actors. But the thing is, Kristoff says towards the end that his intention is to create a perfect little Garden of Eden for Truman. So realism isn't important, tranquility is. So the inhabitants seem to be doing the right thing. Of course they sell Penn Pavel's beer in the real world, it's Marlon's fave. The most obvious camera ever on that trash can, and it took me, well, this is like the 10th time I've seen this movie.
This is silly.
There it is! There it is! There's the dented beetle!
You have to love the attention to detail, always only using believable locations for cameras and the fisheye when in close quarters.
They go around the block. They come back. They go around again.
Yeah, you can learn a lot from this scene. For Travis, we learned early on to use varied routes, swap out extras, otherwise he starts noticing quickly. Nervous look into the lens. No headrests makes filming easier, and especially hidden camera filming easier.
Can you please slow down?
Yes, I can.
That's some quality Jim Carrey. Sorry, there it is. Smart or evil that they killed his dad to give him a fear of the water?
You okay? Yes! You want to do it again? No!
I'm starting to think that maybe they're not right for each other.
Thank you for your help.
You're welcome, Truman.
I like the idea that this was a quick outside hire, or maybe they have actors on standby that they don't have to vet as well because they're mostly non-speaking parts. And they're all just waiting for their moment to shine, and this guy totally blew it. Plus Wendy Bird's solid horror movie stare. I know the young trees planted in rows probably seem like a sign there specifically for the show, but I have a forest like this near my childhood home. Different types of equipment and uses for paper or pulp, but they're really fun to look at as you drive by them. Try it sometime.
Why do you want to have a baby with me? You can't stand me.
It's true, Linny does an amazing job of playing wife, but her actual feelings about Truman have been seeping through since the start of the film, and if you think it's insane that it would take Truman this long to express that, well... Look, I'm in a high school sweetheart relationship. We probably get a pass because we broke up for 3 years in college, but I've known some loveless marriages that are loveless in part because we're all a lot different than our 18 to 20-year-old selves. You're one of the lucky ones if you grow together.
Why don't you let me fix you some of this new Mococo drink? No artificial sweeteners.
What the hell are you talking about? Who you talking to?
Still my favorite moment in the film. It's so real whether it's a TV show or not. And you know how actors on TV shows always build these crazy lifelong bonds? Now imagine it being your entire life. But the main character never leaves set and doesn't ever get to unwind with real people. That would make you go completely insane. Also, it would be hard not to notice that all the other people in your life seem to have extremely close relationships that are different from the ones you have with them.
To carry on under these conditions, it's unprofessional!
Bringing it back to professionalism. Love it. That's the real issue. You think the Truman Show hires SAG? Something tells me no.
I'd gladly walk in front of traffic for you.
The reveal that Christoph is feeding Marlon lines is so on the nose for this scene and pretty dang heartbreaking.
And the last thing that I would ever do is lie to you.
Just a superb piece of filmmaking. The score that keeps slipping back and forth from moving to uneasy, the emotionally delivered lines. I love that Truman could be going either way with it. He knows something is off, but he's back with his best friend.
I'd have to be in on it too.
It's so evil. I love this movie. Truman pillow, and OMG, that's the same robe Meryl was wearing because of course it's for sale.
Yes!
I'd love to think I wouldn't fall for it, but I'm currently falling for it. What the? You're just family washing Daniel-san's mortal enemy? This man held a knife to Kumiko's throat. None of us should ever forgive him, especially not Kumiko. Honestly, I 100% believe that entertainment would create advancements way faster than the need for spy tech. There's way more money in it. Whoa, is that an A113? Not exactly, but I'm counting it. Interesting, so no Burbank in the Truman-verse. Just 100 square miles of dome. He's the Burbank now. Is that Barbie Merrill?
We all know how jealously you guard your privacy.
Such a good line to slip in. Of course, Christoph is all about personal privacy.
Truman! It's television! Yes!
Good job, guy.
Amnesia.
Brilliant.
Amnesia is always brilliant.
I believe Truman is the first child to have been legally adopted by a corporation.
What a truly horrific thought.
We accept the reality of the world with which we're presented.
Painfully true words. Obviously not painful for us, just Travis, who accepts his world is bigger than a few hundred square miles, or these even been anywhere outside the dome.
The Hague for Christoph. Hello.
The Hague? What are they calling about Christoph's human rights violations and should 100% be arrested for?
A few minutes of airtime with him to thrust yourself and your politics into the limelight.
LOL, her politics are free Truman. It's amazing how we use language.
The place you live in is the sick place.
Wow, he could be president. Should be? He should be president. Nope, wait, not old enough. Political wins. It came back for a hot take. Presidents shouldn't be 80-ish.
Meryl will be leaving Truman in an upcoming episode.
And the audience of the show is treated the same way we are. Spoilers are part of the fun, so we can see how it plays out.
I'm determined the television's first on-air conception will still take place.
Not a weird, creepy goal to have at all, General Hummel. You thought trying to get money to the families of fallen Marines. Wait, he's the bad guy in that movie? Truman Sleeps is another one of my favorite Philip Glass pieces ever. Put it behind any sad or contemplative footage and you'll feel like an award-winning filmmaker. But this whole sequence is brilliant. Sylvia staring at the TV, the guy falling asleep in the tub. Very dangerous, don't do that. And then finally Christoph petting Truman's nose. In some ways we see that Christoph does care for Truman, but also maybe it's more like a pet than anything else. And there he is, Philip Glass, playing his own music.
That one's for free.
I love that they don't catch it. I mean, he's being an astronaut, even mocking you control room guys in the moon. It's a stretch.
Oh, and in case I don't see you.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
I need a catchphrase, man.
What's he doing in the basement?
He moved down there after Meryl packed up and left.
Most realistic part of his life. Men will enclose themselves in dark spaces and stop all general hygiene instead of going to therapy. Love that a six-pack is the guaranteed get-out-of-jail-free excuse they use every single time. Considering Truman never saw Ferris Bueller's Day Off, this is a pretty impressive plan.
He's gone.
Cut transmission!
Such a tense moment. Of all the things that would make them turn it off, not Truman possibly harming Meryl or himself, but the idea that they are no longer in control. I've seen that lady crawl on the ceiling. I'm surprised demons even sleep.
He has the world's most recognizable face. He can't disappear.
Great cut. And the fact that the moon is a spotlight, that would also terrify me if I was Truman.
If you could just hear my voice. Truman!
Let me try.
Truman! It's me, Dad! Let's talk!
The egos on these two are really something. It's actually kind of vindicating to see that they're basically idiots.
Cue the sun.
To be honest, I'm not sure anyone would do well with this much power.
The sponsors are threatening to rip up their contract.
Why? We're getting higher ratings with this graphic than we've ever had on this show.
Painful that this is, again, probably one of the more realistic moments. We all love a good disaster.
We're not watching the sea.
Say what you will about Kristoff, that he's evil and should never be allowed near a production of anything ever again, and should probably go to prison for life, but he's not stupid.
I got 2 to 1, he doesn't make it.
Again, bleak, but realistic. It's so easy for us to unhuman the people on the TV. Okay, this looks way more like her now. If there was a job that required this exact skill, Truman would be a shoo-in.
How do we stop him?
Love that look. It's a real the course of action I'd suggest is a course of action I can't suggest moment. We're my Nebula peeps who watch Clear and Present Danger with us. You know.
Give me some lightning. Again. Hit him again.
Where's Kylo Ren when you need him? Just 19 years earlier and somehow way more grim.
The whole world is watching. We can't let him die in front of a live audience.
He was born in front of a live audience.
Psychopaths say what?
Is that the best you can do? You're gonna have to kill me!
First Kylo, now Ruth Langmore?
He's gonna drown. He doesn't even care.
Do it.
Do it!
Kylo, Ruth, and now even the Emperor's getting in on the action? Of course Paul Giamatti would be the voice of reason. The man is a national treasure. Brutal. I mean, this is straight up attempted murder for sure. You're going to jail, my boy. It's a pretty remarkable performance that this is essentially the first time we've seen Truman look genuinely content, minus some of the flashbacks. This is a perfect moment in the film, literally perfect. Once you know what's coming, it's obvious, but that first time is mind-blowing. Our focus isn't on the front of the boat, and what's behind him looks extremely realistic. It's the ultimate record scratch. Genius decision to drop the film sound from this moment. Feels way more impactful. He's not just trying to get out, he's also got confirmation that he was right, but what he was right about is that his entire life is a lie. The very definition of bittersweet.
Who are you? I am the creator of a television show that gives hope and joy.
Just the perfect length pause between creator and of a TV show.
There's no more truth out there than there is in the world I created for you.
I still can't decide if he genuinely believes that or if he's playing the game.
You have nothing to fear.
But also, you just tried to murder him, so... Genuinely love the one person in the middle who just can't watch. Totally relatable.
In case I don't see ya. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Goodness, what a perfect line. He's talking to the entire world and every piece applies to someone somewhere. Love the almost horror film switch in tone. The moment of realization from Kristoff with the music change is almost ominous, but in the best way. We're the horror movie monsters now. And then pure joy. And look, this movie says some stuff about consumerism and things like what we vote for with our attention. They're all excited that he escaped because he's the hero of the story, but I'd like to think that after some self-reflection, they all realized the difference between his actual captors and the viewing audience was negligible, but he's still the hero and it's nice to see these people support him. Also, more importantly, I'm just realizing this guy was in the bathtub for the entire shoot. I know his scenes were probably shot in a day, but oh my goodness was that a pruny day for him.
What else is on?
Yeah, let's see what else is on.
10 out of 10 ending. It's painful and yet perfect that we don't get to see Truman's life after walking through the door. It's none of our business. If you start the Truman Show right after the title card for someone who's never seen it before, I wonder how long it would take them to figure it out. Someone do that. But by letting us know up front, we get to see the trials of trying to do something like this to a human, which creates a lot of weird feelings, honestly. Because all the people are just okay with this? I'm sure this has been discussed before, and I even touched on it a bit in the video, but who, pray tell, is the real villain of this movie? It's Christoph. It's very obviously Christoph. And before I get into it, ultimately the movie is satire, right? There are plenty of examples of reality TV going back decades, but even in the 90s, the real world wasn't super duper mainstream. I mean, nothing has ever really come close to the global penetration of The Truman Show, maybe Keeping Up with the Kardashians. And you can't even really count Survivor or RuPaul's Drag Race American Idol because contest shows aren't really the same genre, but the point is that the reality TV boom happened in the 2000s after this movie. All that to say, it's not satire of our current reality TV, but it's satirizing a level of media consumption that would soon follow. Like, as far as I know, Disney doesn't own a human yet, but we have had some interesting holographic posthumous performances in the last few years, and SAG and the WGA were just striking in part because these corporations do want to own the likeness of every actor and use their CGI face with an AI voice reading AI scripts while paying the actual owners of said faces, voices, and words nothing. This movie doesn't even get into that side of it at all. Christoph is just an auteur with a cruise ship full of cash and a god complex making a really bland 1950s drama. It's not a sitcom. Cinema verite, ultimately. But again, that's not even what the movie is satirizing. For me, this movie is pointing a finger in our consumer faces and telling us we're the problem. And I mean, does Sylvia even turn it off? Oh, what would one less viewer actually change? And she's right, there's a literal brick and mortar bar devoted to the show. That ship has sailed. But like, who are these people watching a show about a baby owned by some TV show? Again, it's us. We're all bathtub guy. Not to get down in the dumps, but they watched a guy basically get tortured for 30 years on live TV. And what happens? They cheer when he gets out and then they change the channel. That's literally how it ends, which is the final correct prediction this movie makes, because in the age of war and genocide being captured on the phones of those committing atrocities and those having atrocities committed against them, the rest of us are all sitting at our Truman-themed bar hoping for the best, cheering, gasping, calling in to let those in charge know how we feel, but in the end, when we lose interest and no longer find it entertaining, we'll just change the channel like we always do. Bleak, I know. But like I said, we all cheer when he escapes the prison because he's free from our perceiving eyes. But how many of us want a sequel? I'm curious. I said I love that we never see Truman after he steps through the door because I think it's a brilliant filmmaking choice, not because I like it. In fact, I hate it. I want to know what happens. Does he go right to Sylvia or does he go murder Marlon first? But we'll never know because it's not for us to know or for anyone to know. IRL Truman would never know a moment's peace again and would likely take years to adjust to a world not designed to cater to his every need. He actually may get hit by a car immediately upon stepping foot in LA. Honestly, the most realistic continuation is that he sues Christoph and ends up winning Sea Haven in the settlement and moves back there. The fact that he's never actually been outside is gonna mess with him. Southern California is gonna turn him into a lobster real quick. See, you don't even need a sequel. That's it. He's either dead, sunburnt, or lonely. Or maybe he meets a manic pixie dream Kate and has weird visions of faceless people. Where were we? Oh, right, you're the bad guy. How could Christoph be the bad guy anyway? He has Christ in his name. Although he's really more of a god in this movie. I mean, literally. And that makes Truman Jesus, I guess. Dude walks on water. Christoph tried to sacrifice his son Truman, but Truman decided he didn't want to die for the world's entertainment, and he left. He gave in to Sylviatin's temptations. And Marlon, that Judas, he betrayed Truman for 30 cases of beer. And Meryl is... I mean, there's also that Garden of Eden thing happening, making Meryl Eve, but see, she didn't give the apple to Truman, so only she possesses the knowledge of good and evil. Although the light that falls is also kind of an apple, and uncovering the truth about it gets Truman booted from Sea Haven. Or, wait, no, the star is the brightest star, right? The morning star? Okay, so... Wait, what am I saying? Truman didn't survive the boat crash. He was resurrected and he died to free all these people from their reality TV addictions. All right, that's enough, I think. I love this movie. I really love this movie. And seems like a lot of you did too. It was the top request on the last community poll I did. So that's it. If you missed last week, there's a full 2.5-hour commentary for Clear and Present Danger exclusively on Nebula, as well as everything great about Blade 3 up a few weeks early. Oh, also next week is this one. Don't tell Travis. Thanks.
I guess my chances of that happening are somewhat diminished, seeing that I'm incapable of making eye contact with a woman I don't know.
No.
Sure, no, that's okay.
This is...
Okay.
Oh, hey.
Take care then.
Jesus.